Welcome to Integrity Data. In this tutorial, we're just going to go over fixing a missing punch or adding a transaction. Quickest way to get there, as I can see I have exceptions, is going to be to go to Edits and Time Management. I click on Time Management and I can see my exceptions right here. I can just click right here in the middle or over to the right or anywhere from punch type over, and that's going to bring this punch into edit mode for me. I can see what's been worked on the time card, a lot of absences here, an edited one already from 7 to 10:40, and the rest absences. I'm not going to start with the date. I'm going to start putting the time out. Now I can click on any of these times in here, or if it's in the AM, 11 a.m., just like this, click outside the box. You're going to notice that the date will be pre-filled from the date on this side. So I click outside the box, my date's in there, 11 a.m. The system knows if there's not a PM behind it, it's going to consider it AM. So if I want a PM, and let's do 2 p.m., well, 2:03 p.m., click no spaces, no colon, click outside the box, and it puts it in there for me in a nice format. 2 p.m. straight up is just going to be 2 p.m., or I could have selected 2 p.m. from in here, but I click outside the box, and there we go. I want to put in a note. I don't want to leave these blank if I'm touching somebody's time card. I want to have the audit trail in here so that nobody questions why I'm putting these punches in. I can run an audit trail in here as an administrator and find out who it was that edited them, what the original punch might have been, things like that. So I really want to make sure that I've got my note in here so they know what I'm doing on this employee's time card. This is also helpful if the employee has questions and wants to know why this particular time was edited. I'm going to go ahead and click Save at the left-hand side, and it disappears from here. I can work on my next one. Now, if the employee were to come up to me and I have my time and attendance open, they said I forgot to clock in this morning, or a customer got a hold of me before I was able to clock in, I was here at such and such time, I can either use this add new punch or write it on a post-it note and come back later and add it in, or tomorrow there's out punch would appear as a missing punch, and I could add it in the same way I just fixed Grace's punch. But here I can click add new punch, in, out, lunch return, and my breaks. The only one I really use this for is lunch returns and my lunch out. If they forget one of them, I will use this specifically, the add new punch, whether I'm on their timesheet or in the exceptions, in order to add the missing lunch punch. Anytime an employee clocks for lunch, they create 2 punches. One's going to stop their work time when they go out to lunch and then start their lunch. The lunch return is going to stop their lunch and create an automatic back to work punch. So I use these because it's a lot quicker than adding 2 punches into 2 separate lines. So I could just click in punch, the date, and we'll use yesterday, 7 a.m., my note, and then I'm going to go ahead and save this. Now, because it was yesterday, it does appear right here on my exceptions. The other way is if you're not sure what's going on, I see Larry's got a couple of lunch outs and things like that in here, I can just click right here on the employee's name. That brings me right to their timesheet. I didn't have to click on this. It brought me over here automatically. It pulled up this employee. The only thing I might have to do is change the pay period depending on which one the missing punch was in. I can see here that these are red. These are telling me that they're exceptions or incomplete punches. An incomplete punch would be an in without an out without an in, a lunch out without a lunch return. And to go in and fix these from the timesheet, I can just click like I did on my exceptions. That's going to bring this whole line into edit mode. Again, I don't worry about the date. I'm just going to put the out punch. If you want to use military time, you can use military time instead of putting 3:30 p.m. Click outside the box and it converts it for you. I'm going to go ahead and add an addendum to the note. And then all the way over to the left, I'm going to go ahead and click save. That takes care of that. Now he does have a missing lunch out, or I'm sorry, a missing lunch return on this day. He also has a missing out punch for this day because the next one is on the 3rd. If I'm fixing a lunch punch, I'm going to use the add new punch, just as we've seen over here. For me, it's easier to see what's going on with lunch punches in their timesheet. So this is the area I like to come to make sure my corrections are good. I'm going to select add new punch. I'm going to do lunch return. And this is going to be for the 2nd. You'll notice we have this 3:10 out to lunch and a 3:10 stop on his work. That's what I mean when an employee uses the lunch feature on the clock, or we use it here. It's going to add both of these in at once. It's going to stop his work time, give you a total on that. It's going to start his lunch. When we add this lunch return, it's going to stop his lunch. We'll get the total for that. And then there will be a line below. It's going to be red because he didn't clock out for this day either. But when we add the clock out, it will calculate the afternoon work. So here I'm going to change this to the 2nd. Lunch return, 3:50, or I could have just put in 3:50 p.m. just like that and clicked outside the box. My note, and I'm going to save that. Right away, I can see it closed off his lunch. We have the entire line here, how long his lunch took. But now I have my other exception because the employee did not clock out for the day. So on this would be like any other punch. Click here, add his out time, 6:30 p.m. and add to this back over to the left and save. And that completes the missing punch. We're good to go. The other items here in the add new transaction, I'll just briefly cover. Unpaid time, if you need to give him an amount of unpaid time for any particular reason. Your company may have other options in here like no call, no show, out of PTO, supervisor approved, anything like that. You would choose it. You would select the date. When I select the date on the top, it's going to mimic that on the bottom. So if it's over midnight that you're trying to do this, you will need to make sure you change the date here to reflect that correctly. You're going to add the start time that he's supposed to be in, the time that he's supposed to be out, and you would just save this. Bulk transaction, things like training, orientation. This is something where you would just pick a date. The time up here is not really important to that unless maybe you want to put it after 5 p.m. Maybe they went to the post office. So you might start this at 5 p.m. and then 2 hours down here or something like that and save that. Awards or dollar amounts, bonus, tip, commission. The date, time on these is not really important. The count doesn't do anything in here, but if you needed a number for reference for anything, you could put that in there. But if I put the number 2 in here and then $100 for his bonus, it's not going to times 100 times 2. It's still going to be $100. You're just going to have the number 2 here. Your note for the bonus, Jones account, things like that, and save that. Actually, we would use bonus, but you may have different items in here of dollar amount, things that you do need to add to an employee from time to time. Most don't, but some do. PTO transaction, this employee doesn't have a PTO plan, so I'm going to go to the next employee up here, to Myra, back to my add new transaction, down to PTO, and in this demo company, I've got multiple items. Maybe she called out sick. I can see here, since we're doing accruals in this software, or maybe somebody added their balance at the beginning of the year, I can see they've got 18.02 hours left. I can go ahead and add in for the 10th where she was absent, 8 hours, and save that. That's going to go into her time card and be shown up here as well. Come down here. The last one is my holiday transaction. This is rarely used. I might use it in an instance if maybe we don't really have a holiday plan, but we just give the employee a floating holiday each year. I might use it for that. I may use it if our policy states that the employee needs to work here for 90 days. This employee has only been here for 85, but she's done an excellent job. I want to reward her, so I'm going to give her the holiday. And I could go ahead and add the hours and save, and that would give this employee a holiday transaction. That covers the exceptions, missing punches, and the transactions portion of this. Thank you for watching.